Welcome back to Royals Weekly. I am your host, Marcus Mead, and joining me as always, he's not Daddy Shark or Baby Shark. He's creepy Uncle Shark, my brother Mike.
It's the facial hair modeled off of you. I take that.
Well, yeah,
This wonderful facial hair inspired by Mark gives me the
I
creepy
did,
uncle vibe.
I did copyright this facial hair. I did copyright this patch and this patch right here, so it has a distinct look to it. That's all me. On this week's episode, we're going to go ahead and review another disappointing week of Royals baseball. Got to talk about it. That's what happened. We can't avoid it like it just didn't happen. We'll talk about that 1-5 week, and then we'll discuss a few positive developments for the Royals during our spotlight segment. It's too much doom and gloom lately. We're gonna keep it positive during the spotlight segment, and then we're going to preview this week's West Coast road trip that the boys are going to take starting today. Full slate of games this week for you to consume, to watch, to hopefully not agonize over. Before we get started, a reminder to subscribe to that Royals Weekly Substack, royalsweekly.substack.com. You get a ton of extra content for $5 a month. You get extra episode every midweek episode that me and Mike do. Mike does another episode on his own on Thursdays or Fridays. And then I come out with a written piece at least once a week and sometimes more than that. And so, yeah, make sure you're subscribed to royalsweekly.substack.com. It's a great community over there. We're having a lot of great conversations. Also, this would really, really help us out. So please, please do it. Go out and rate and review us everywhere you can. Give us an Apple Podcast review. Give us a 5 stars on Spotify or whatever you can do. Now, all that helps out tremendously. We really appreciate it. We do this for you every single week. All we ask in return is for a little ratings and reviews. Okay, so make sure you're doing that every time you can. We'll start the review of last week with a little bit of roster news. Not a lot of big roster news this week, just some small things that we can sort of keep our eye on. The Royals went ahead and activated Kyle Wright from the 15-day injured list and then optioned into Omaha. We haven't seen Kyle Wright in a Royals uniform yet. We're waiting to see if he can be anything for the Major League team. In Omaha so far, he's got 23 innings pitched with a 5.48 ERA, 21 strikeouts, 14 walks, and a 1.57 whip. Mike, what are your thoughts on getting Kyle Wright back from the IL?
Well, it's not a promising start for Kyle Wright, who really just has one year of Major League Baseball success pitching in his career with the Braves. But, he's an inventory arm, hopefully, whether that be in a starting role or I think maybe moving him to the bullpen in a relief role is maybe a better option. But I haven't seen him pitch yet, though, so I can't say exactly what he looks like. But those numbers don't inspire a lot of confidence right now. But we'll see down the road how things go. He's been out for so long that it's going to take time for him to get back. It's going to take he may be a different pitcher now. When you come off of injuries that take that long, sometimes you're a different pitcher, and that means sometimes finding a new role that fits you better for the new pitcher that you are.
Yeah, we'll see on him. I don't think they can count on anything. I don't think they will be counting on anything from Kyle Wright, but it would be nice or lovely if he could give something to the Major League team and either set himself up as a trade chip or give them some quality innings out of the bullpen. I think asking him to be a rotation piece this early back or even at all this season would probably be a little too much, but it's not unheard of that he would start figuring things out in Omaha, maybe take on a little bit of a relief role for the Royals. A more familiar face also just recently got sent out on a rehab assignment. That's Michael Massey. Actually, he was in Omaha too recently, and I heard he just got pulled before ever taking a plate appearance today. So I don't know, hopefully that's not injury related. Maybe he's getting an opportunity in the major leagues. Maybe it's just precautionary or something. But since being sent down for a rehab assignment, he's got 14 plate appearances in the minors so far, 5 hits, 1 home run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Mike, thoughts on seeing Massey on the road to making it back to Major League Baseball potentially?
All I care about is how much is he swinging.
Yeah.
He will never be more than a very streaky and often not even competitive major league hitter if he doesn't change the approach. And if that hasn't changed, which in 14 plate appearances, I would be shocked if it has, then there's no point in bringing him up. There's no point in him coming to Major League Baseball unless something has changed. Now, the Royals, desperate and starving for offense, might want to try and throw him in there just to see if you can't catch lightning in a bottle, and get the Michael Massey that you did a couple of years ago, where he gets on a hot run and yay, great. That would be, I guess, good for this team.
That was last year.
Actually. Was that last year? I can't remember. But either way, that's not long-term success for Michael Massey or the Royals. And so unless something changes to give him and long-term success to provide value for this team long-term, I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Good to see him healthy, I guess. You always
Yeah.
want that for
Yeah,
guys.
of course. Yeah. And I
And
want
he is,
improvement to be there. I can't see how that could have happened already. Maybe there were changes being made when he was on the IL that are bearing fruit and they see it. I would be shocked if that's the case.
yeah, give him some time. We had talked about him being optioned before he ever went on the IL. We were thinking they should option him. He has options. So if he's ready to come off the IL, if he's hit his limit for rehab time, they can easily just use one of those options, keep him in Omaha, keep him working on that approach. You can't deny that some raw tools exist there. You love the fact that a guy who is a second baseman and plays a quality second base can also have some power outcomes for you. You like that. You like that he has the loft to his swing that he does. You like that he loves to pull the ball. It's got to be a better approach so he can maximize all those other things. If you're swinging at pitches 2 inches outside the strike zone, it's going to be tough to really get the most out of your game. And so hopefully he's feeling better. Hopefully he's learning some things down there in Omaha, and maybe he will be able to contribute later in the season. On the field last week, it was another disappointing one for the Kansas City Royals. They went 1-5 last week, bringing their overall record to 39-45. They started by getting ritualistically embarrassed by this Tampa Bay Rays in a 3-game sweep before dropping a series to the Dodgers in one of the most predictable outcomes I can ever remember. I didn't know anyone who was like, I think the Royals are going to win this series against the Dodgers. Real rough week, Mike. We got reminded what good teams look like when they're playing the Royals. Do you have any thoughts on how that week made you feel?
Yeah, it was super predictable when two really good teams are coming in and you're a team that struggles to compete against really good teams. Obviously, that was going to be tough. You say, oh, we saw the Dodger series coming, but I want you to think about this. And I talked about this on the Mike's Dropped episode for our Substack subscribers this past week. Think about the pitching situation the Dodgers had in those final two games.
Oh, they were bad.
Going into the series, first, the Dodgers starting rotation is so hurt. They're not very good. The Dodgers overall pitching is not very good. Their bullpen isn't great either. And so you're going into a series where basically they're doing two openers, right? Because Shohei Ohtani's only going to pitch 2 innings, and then they're going to finish out with bullpen. And then the next game, they didn't have a starter. They used an opener in that one as well and did a bullpen. Really, it's more of a bullpen game, that whole game. And so you say, obviously they weren't going to beat the Dodgers, but that's the only setup that really, that kind of, if you're going to get the Dodgers, you want to be able to face those two starting rotation spots. That's your only chance, Royals, to beat the Dodgers in a 3-game series. And you flushed it down the toilet because you couldn't hit Rablonsky or Robleski or Roblox guy.
I can't remember his name.
No one else will either. That's the point.
Yeah, and you texted me, and our older brother BJ texted us after that Tampa Bay series because things were pretty dark and pretty rough. And I texted back, silver lining, they have clarity in the trade market more, to this point. It's not, you don't have to be so ambiguous about should we buy, should we sell when you're getting your brain stomped in by the Rays and then you lose a series to the Dodgers that's coming off a sweep at the hands of some other team,
And the Dodgers didn't think we really need to find a way to cover somebody in this last game of the series. They didn't have an announced starter when the series started. They could have brought somebody up. They were like, why the hell would we bring somebody up to face this offense?
Yeah, that's fine. You'll be fine, Dodgers. You'll be fine. Mike, there were very few strong performers to choose from this week. So really you and I mine's a stretch, honestly. Mine is a stretch. But we took a couple pitchers because the hitting just wasn't there. Who's your strong performer this week?
I went with Seth Lugo. There was about 3 hitters you could have gone with. So I'll give an honorable mention to Vinny Pasquantino.
Okay, I try and only choose guys who have OPSs over 900 for a week. I didn't see any of them.
Nobody over 900, but Pasquantino's was in the high 800s. He had that big 3-run home run on Saturday. So honorable mention to him. But I went with Seth Lugo because in that game on Saturday, he was able to hold down one of the best lineups in Major League Baseball. Over 5 2/3 innings, he only gave up 4 hits, no runs, 5 walks, which is pretty high. But you always figure a guy who pitches like Lugo, some of those are strategic. He's going to pitch around some guys because he knows he can then get out of it. He did have 8 strikeouts as well. He looked really good in that game, made some was able to get out of some trouble, I believe, in the second inning, if I'm remembering correctly. But Seth Lugo, possibly an audition there for the Los Angeles Dodgers, as he looked really, really good again.
What do you think? All it'll take is 2 to 3 of your best prospects. You can have them right here. 35 years old, fresh off the line. Yeah. I had to go with a pitcher too. I mean, the way their offense is performing, I don't feel, even an 800, that's not that great for a week. But Lugo was the best option at pitcher. Mike took him. I'm going to take the second best option and go with Chris Bubich this week or last week for my strong performer. And he gets it not just because he was great. He wasn't great. He was, I would say, solid with how you would describe him. But he did pitch 2 starts this week and kept the team in it both times. 11 innings pitched, 4 earned runs on the week, 2 walks, 13 strikeouts. Did give up 2 home runs. Bubich has cooled a little bit from the really insane, intense start that he had that was really good. But he's still keeping the team in games all the time. Every time he comes up in the rotation, I'm like, okay, they have a chance to win today. Bubich is going to go out and do some smart things. Maybe he'll give up a little hard contact here and there, but he has the stuff to miss bats, get strikeouts, and ultimately give the team a chance across a number of innings. The offense often doesn't capitalize on that, but great job for Bubich this last week, keeping him in 2 games. Mike, there was some weak performance out there, to say the least. Who did you decide to go with for your weak performer?
We got to talk about old Jackie Kaggs, baby. He is not in a good way right now. And the game on Friday night where he grounds into a double play to end the game with the bases loaded, 1 out. All we need is a sacrifice fly. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he swung at the first pitch. Was that the first pitch he swung at?
I think it was.
I think so.
Yes.
I can't remember. Grounds into a double play to end the game. And just brutal. He was 1 for 21 this week. No extra base hits. When you only have 1 hit, often it isn't an extra base hit. 1 walk and 7 strikeouts. It's the worst outcome that we thought could have happened when we brought him up. I don't want to toot my own horn, but somebody said we shouldn't have brought him up. That was me. He's not ready. He's not ready for Major League Baseball. He wasn't ready for Major League Baseball when we brought him up. Do not try and tell me that he wouldn't have been tested in AAA. I don't want to hear that.
No, that's not my argument. But my argument, if somebody's going to make an argument that that's not the case, they'll use his expected numbers, which are still much better than his actual numbers. He's still got a pretty decent expected weighted on base average. He's still got a really good expected batting average, a really good expected slugging percentage, and things like that. So it is still early enough that we could say some of this, or at least even a significant portion of this, is bad fortune.
So, I get that. Bad fortune, whatever. You can't watch this guy take plate appearances and say, this is going to be the winning recipe for him. This is him maximizing his talent or even really being a productive major leaguer at this point. I understand his expected numbers are good because the exit velocities that he's always going to have, even on these ground balls that he's hitting, are very high. And so I do think there's some blind spot in the expected numbers kind of stuff. Because if Jack Caglione, who hits the ball harder than shit no matter what, is hitting the ball on the ground, that's a loss. Every single time that is a loss. Okay? If you get a single out of it, a seeing eye single hit on the ground because you hit 110 off the bat, that's a loss, Jack Caglione. Hit the ball in the air. Take a pitch or 2. It's okay. I did see, there were actually a couple of good at bats in this, but I think what's happening now is he's starting to improve his approach a little bit. And when some guys do that, their timing gets thrown off because they're really not used to that. They're not used to picking out one pitch and hitting it. They're used to see ball, hit ball. I can hit anything they throw up here. Anything my bat can reach, I can touch. That's not how it works. And he got by too long doing it that way. And now he's being asked to change. And sometimes that can throw off timing. Obviously, it affects confidence and things like that as well. But we got to get him right. And I think the guy you're about to mention is probably not going to be the guy to do it.
Yeah. So one more point on Caglione there. There are a lot of bad data points. The ground ball rate is a bad data point. The pull air rate is a bad data point for him. He has to find what his thing is going to be. Yeah. You mentioned the guy who's going to be tasked with doing that this season at the very least, Alex Zumwalt. He's my weak performer for the week. And you're right. I don't think he has a great shot at that because it's really hard to do in season. I don't think any hitting coach has a great shot at getting a first-year player's approach in the right during the season. I don't think that anybody's got a good shot at that. But Alex Zumwalt is not my weak performer necessarily because of how bad the offense has been. We know he's been much maligned and all that sort of stuff. Mike, do you know why I actually put him on here?
Why?
Because he got into a Twitter beef with a Twitter Royals fan, basically, and podcaster and stuff like that. I won't say his name because I'm not a huge fan of his either. But he got into a Twitter beef with a fan, basically, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? That is a weak move for anyone. Don't stay off social media. Get out of there. If you're having like a terrible season, don't speak back to the fans. What are you doing? Like, you're starting to see little bits of fraying around the coaching staff and the organization as things haven't gone well this season. You're seeing fraying all over the organization of people just like losing their cool, and it's not good. Like, it's not professional. It doesn't look good, right? And so just stay off the internet. Alex Zumwalt, stay off the internet. It's bad for you. Mike, I am so glad. I am so glad we've made it to the theme section because I read this theme that you have and I kicked myself for not picking it at some point up to this point. Mike, please tell us your theme for the week.
Well, it comes from the classic film New Jack City. If you have never seen it,
Classic!
It's a fantastic movie.
And there are like a ton of great lines in it too. I just love it.
The line that I'm going to give you comes from the actor Wesley Snipes playing. Is he the? I guess he's the
drug kingpin
antagonist.
Yes, he is the antagonist.
Nino Brown. Yeah, drug kingpin Nino Brown. And is he saying it? Is he saying it to? I don't remember.
He's saying it to his own brother.
That's what it is.
His little brother.
His little brother. He says this, and this is. I want you to picture the Dodgers as Nino Brown and the Royals as his little brother, who, of course, we don't even know the guy's name. It's been that long. Nobody remembers the little brother. Everybody remembers Nino Brown. He says, "Sit your $5 ass down before I make change." That's what it felt like.
And you did it in the voice. Yeah.
I'm always going to honor Wesley Snipes.
Now, Snipes does it with
not that great a person, but
yeah, Snipes actually puts a lot more edge on it in his.
Oh yeah, I can't get there emotionally.
It was great. It was great.
But I would, that's what it felt like this week, and not just against the Dodgers, against the Rays as well. It felt like Big Brother was telling us to sit our $5 ass down before he makes change. Because it's very obvious that the Royals aren't going to play with the big boys this year. That's just not going to happen. I went and looked at the schedule. It is an easier schedule in the second half, especially in the month of August. I still have no confidence this team makes the playoffs, let alone has a chance to actually make a fight in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a brilliant choice of theme there. One of my that is my favorite line from that movie, and it's a great movie if you've never seen it. It's not for the kids, but it is a great movie. I went with something that was a little more sort of, I guess, well known. Like everybody knows the lines to this song. It's sort of like it's a cultural touchstone. Everybody knows it. But the only thing I can think about the last week is just that, like, okay, well, I don't know if I'm just like eternally optimistic or I'm always trying to see the sunny side. But it just makes me think, okay, well, it's clearing up what the Royals should do at this trade deadline. Like, they're losing. That sucks. Yeah, they're pulling themselves further and further from the playoff race. But everything's getting clearer. And so what did I go to? The classic Something Getting Clearer song. I Can See Clearly Now by Johnny Nash. You know the words. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. You know it. You love it.
I loved the self-click track. That was good.
Yeah. I don't know how good my rhythm is right now, but I feel like I nailed it. Yes, it's clear at the very least that the Royals need to probably be looking to move assets at this trade deadline. Royals Weekly is brought to you by All In Physical Therapy, who are happy to announce that they now offer strength and conditioning programs for youth athletes who want to gain an edge on the football field, basketball court, or baseball field.
Can someone make me a better hockey player? I'd like to pursue a hobby that requires fewer teeth, but not like drug addiction.
Yeah, that's a good call there. And of course, All In Physical Therapy still offers the best in recovery from total joint surgeries and sports injuries with offices in Blue Springs, Lee Summit, and Belton. They're going to have the whole metro circled before too long.
Oh, yeah.
They'll help you take care of your recently replaced hips, knees, shoulders, elbows, you name it.
I'll take any of those as long as I don't have to replace my teeth.
Yeah, we're letting you keep the no teeth. If you're interested in reaching the peak of your athletic performance or getting back to 100% from an injury, check out All In Physical Therapy at allin-pt.com. That's ALLIN-pt.com. Or give them a call at 816-427-5300. That's 816-427-5300. We've spent a lot of time this season focused on things that haven't gone the Royals' way, the offense mostly. But I think it's important to also bring up things that are going well for this organization. So for this week's Spotlight segment, we're going to pump a little sunshine into the discourse and focus on a few things the Royals love to see happening this year. We'll each pick two things that have gone well so far this year and consider the long-term implications of each. And since Mike cooked me a bunch of meat last night, he can go first.
Yeah, we had some good eatings at the cookout yesterday.
I thought the beans were the best part.
Everybody keeps saying that. I was like the only person that didn't love them.
Oh, they're great. They're great.
Yeah, I mean, I made them. They were good, but I didn't think they were all that great. But everybody else was raved, so I guess we'll keep them. And I assumed you felt bad because I again took the two obvious ones.
No, I don't care. I wanted you to take the obvious ones because I know more about the Royals than you.
Oh, ouch. You just had to throw that dig in there. Just give the guy a bunch of great food, and I was throwing digs. Okay, my first thing, going well. Love to see it, too, because we've been calling for it for a few years now, or a couple years now. The emergence of Maikel Garcia. Okay, absolutely love it. Big step forward this year. He's hitting .315. He's got a .372 on base and a .487 slugging.
Look at that slugging.
I know. That's fantastic for a guy like him. .859, and if you go look at his spray chart, Mark, where are all those big extra base hits coming?
They're coming to his pull side.
His pull side. They're going to left field. Go look at that spray chart if you haven't seen it. It is extremely telling. He did increase his pull rate, or his air pull rate this year by 6%, which makes it almost Major League average. Now you might be going, well, Major League average, that doesn't sound great. For him, that's fantastic. Because it had
you hit the ball as hard as he does, yeah, it's fine to be Major League average.
Yeah, Major League average is good for him. He had been way below that. This has, of course, led to not just an increase in extra base hits, but an increase in hits overall. And it kind of all ties back to the approach got a lot better. That's really what it is. The chase rate is way down. There's the ground ball rate is way down. All of those things are a manifestation of the fact that he's now swinging at pitches that are ones he can pull and ones that are not outside the zone, not on the shadow of the zone. He's really waiting for pitches that he can do damage on. Maikel Garcia, just fantastic that he has turned it around and become really an asset to this offense that has so few of them. And honestly, as far as consistent hitters, he is our most consistent hitter. Bobby Witt Jr., maybe you could say that because he'll get a lot of the infield singles from the speed and stuff like that. He'll stretch a lot of singles into doubles. But as far as approach goes and who I would rely on with guys on base and things like that, I'll take Maikel Garcia.
Yeah, and honestly, that if you're looking for some hope that this offensive player development team, whether they be in the minors or the majors, are capable of doing that, Maikel Garcia is a data point that they have a player now who has made his approach better over the course of an offseason and been able to increase his air pull rate, essentially, right? Like he now forces pitchers to throw him middle in by not swinging at pitches on the outside half early in counts. And that's entirely, if Bobby Witt Jr. and Jack Caglione did that, their games would entirely change.
The one thing I will say, and it kind of makes it not a data point for this hitting developing. This was the guy Maikel Garcia was before he got to Major League Baseball a lot.
Oh, like, yeah, it absolutely was.
Yeah. He was more of a patient, kind of had a better approach in AA and even AAA. And then when he got to the majors, that kind of fell off. And he's now getting it back. And it seems to be that he's getting to the place there where we thought he could be when he first came up.
Yeah. I just mentioned him, and I think it's important to acknowledge this, even though it's not looking great for him right now. I think one thing that has gone very well for the Royals is Jack Caglione dominated minor league baseball this year, right? This is his first professional season. And despite the fact that he struggled to start here at in the major leagues, you can't ask for better than what he did at AA and AAA to start the year. He had a 950 OPS in AA, or near a 950 OPS. He had over a 1,000 OPS in AAA in his first professional season. That's really tough to do, even for an accomplished college hitter like him. And he's also made that transition to the outfield pretty smoothly, for a guy who had never played the outfield before, really in college at all. And so uh, I think, despite the fact that our perspective says, "Oh, it's rough that he's not like crushing it in Major League Baseball," you still have to feel pretty good about what he's done up to that point.
Yeah, and I still feel really good about where Jack Caglione is as a prospect because that's kind of what I consider him still. I do absolutely love the transition to right field and how smooth that has been. I think we haven't had a chance to really see what his arm can do in the outfield, but the tracking has looked good. Some of the, kind of playing the field, like playing the ball off the wall and in the corner has looked good, those kind of things. But boy, the one stat you don't have in there for AAA that's the most important is 12, Mark. And what does that
Yeah,
mean?
that's the number of games he played there.
Exactly.
But that's your take. I mean, the weird thing is we can't test the counterfactual, right? We can't
True.
test
Very true.
the world where he stayed in AAA and that sort of thing. Mike, what's your second thing that you think is going well this year?
It's Noah Cameron, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, Noah Cameron, showing that he belongs in Major League Baseball. 2.79 ERA for Noah so far this year and a 1.01 whip. He's got 5 pitches that are all used between 17 and 28%. And although the strikeout numbers are low, I think he's just 16th roughly percentile, or maybe it's a 16% strikeout rate, 16, 18% strikeout rate, something like that. He should be a solid guy in your rotation for the next several years. Probably not a number, he's not a number 1 or 2 probably, but mid to back rotation guy. He's going to be just fine. And the thing we know about Noah Cameron, we absolutely know this. He'll add pitches. He'll change his arsenal. He'll change how he uses them. He'll adapt and he'll add velocity even. He's done that as well a little bit. And so this may not even be the finished product of Noah Cameron, and it's still major league value.
It's still a lot of major league value because we also know that he's pretty pitch efficient. Like we know that he gets early count outs. We know that he gives up weak contact and that sort of thing. You do wonder and maybe worry a little bit about the fact that it's a fly ball profile. You do worry a little bit about the fact that the strikeout numbers aren't crazy high. But I think you hit it on the head. The most encouraging thing is that he'll do his best to continue to adapt and get better, right? Like it would not surprise me if they work on getting more induced vertical break out of his fastball. It would not surprise me if they work on making his cutter sharper or something like that. Like, it would not surprise me if they add a sinker or something like that. Like, I think he will always be somebody looking to push the next envelope, like Seth Lugo does, honestly. Always push the next envelope, always find a way to stay ahead of the fact that hitters are also improving.
Yeah. And I think if we're looking at anything for him moving forward in the future, it's finding a way to minimize the amount of fly balls that he gives up. So increase the ground ball rate as much as possible. He may never be a guy, especially with the arm slot that he has, because I don't think it favors a sinker all that much. I was looking at it myself earlier today. I don't think it really does, but that doesn't mean you can't maximize a way for him to induce ground balls with the pitches that he already has.
Yeah. My second thing that is going positively is going to sound kind of like backhanded or like sarcasm or something. It's not. I think it's really important. That is that they now have increased clarity on the coaching staff. Okay. And yes, I'm talking a little bit about Alex Zumwalt as hitting coach. I think they have more clarity about whether or not they want to keep him around beyond this season. But I think they also should have clarity on Damon Hollins and whether or not they want to keep him around as the head of base running and things like that. They're one of the worst base running teams in Major League Baseball. And Hollins, Zumwalt, Keone Duren, and Vance Wilson were 4 coaches who were holdovers from the previous administration, the previous coaching staff, the previous GM, all that sort of thing. Looking at that now, I think we have more clarity on whether or not the Royals should continue trying to improve their hitting with Alex Zumwalt at the helm, right?
Yeah, I completely agree. Those holdovers too, it's tough because remember the overall performance of the team is going to come down to Matt Quatrero. Okay. And he didn't pick those guys. And so like, if I'm him, I know I'm going into JJ Piccolo's office after the end of the year and saying, hey, listen, these are the issues. These are the areas. If we're going to play baseball with this kind of vision and you want me taking, this team where I think it can go, then these things have to change, or at least that's what I would be doing. I know I'm not going to go in there and say, hey, I could be fired at the end of next year because we can't win, yet I don't get to pick who our hitting coach is, or I don't get to say we need a new hitting coach. Like, I think definitely something has got to change in that coaching front.
Royals Weekly is brought to you by Eric Oxer of West USA Realty. Do you have the same fantasy we do, retiring to a land of eternal summer? If so, you need to call Eric Oxer of West USA Realty pronto. He can help you transition to a lovely home in the Phoenix area and a life of fun in the sun.
I need that vitamin D, son.
Vitamin D. I think it's good for not having depression. Eric was one of the top real estate agents in the Phoenix area to end 2024 because he gives all of his clients a personal experience focused entirely on their needs. With Eric Oxer of West USA Realty, it's not about him, it's about you. He's there to listen to you, work for you, and guide you through the ins and outs of buying and selling in the Phoenix area.
Don't make the mistake I did and buy a house that has no windows and all the ghosts.
Yes, so many ghosts. I can't even. What was it a Civil War hospital? What the hell's going on over there? Mm-hmm. Find Eric Oxer of West USA Realty online at ericoxer.com. That's ERICKAUXIER.com. Or just give him a call or shoot him a text at 480-383-9745. That's 480-383-9745. If you're at all interested in what a life in the Phoenix area might hold, let him make the experience all about you. The Royals hit the road for a West Coast swing this week with a 4-game series against the Seattle Mariners and a 3-gamer against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Mike, the Mariners are led by a guy called Big Dumper. Not that we need to know any more than that, but go ahead and tell us more about the Mariners anyway.
Who I think leads Major League Baseball in home runs. Is that correct? Him and Aaron Judge are kind of back and forth in it.
What's weird is I saw somebody tweet the other day, Judge is still the front runner for MVP, but this guy's made it a lot closer. I'm like, how? He leads in home runs and he's a catcher. That should be the MVP right away, like every year, no matter what.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani's going to start pitching again soon too. I guess that's the AL, but AL versus NL there. But interesting team, the Mariners. They are 43-40, second in the AL West right now. They have like a stable of young starting pitchers. But some of them have been hurt this year, starting with George Kirby. That first game is going to be Michael Wacha against George Kirby. He's a 27-year-old right out of Elon University. 5.40 ERA. Been a little bit disappointing, George Kirby has. 1.28 whip. He's got a four-seam fastball that's 96-97, a slider, a sinker, a curveball, a splitter, a changeup. His expected ERA is a little bit better at 4.19, but his breaking stuff has been -4 run value this year. It's been getting hit, the breaking stuff. And like I said, I think he's made less than 10 starts this year because of some injury issues, if I'm remembering correctly. And then in game 2, Michael Lorenzen will go against Emerson Hancock, the 26-year-old righty out of Georgia. He's got a 5.3 ERA and a 1.42 whip. If I'm not mistaken, remind me here, was he a top 10 pick?
He was a very early pick. At one point, they were talking about him for 1-1 overall during his draft year.
Yeah. Sinker, four-seamer, 94, 95, a changeup, a slider, and a sweeper. He doesn't have great stuff. His strikeout rate's only 18.8. Hopefully the boys can, hit some out against that guy and, win a game. That'd be great. Game 3 of this 4-game series will be Noah Cameron versus Logan Gilbert, the 28-year-old righty out of Stetson University. 3.55 ERA for Logan Gilbert and just a .92 whip. And I believe he has been one of the ones who hasn't been hurt. He's got a slider, a four-seam fastball at 94 or 95-96, a splitter, a curveball, a sinker, elite strikeout and walk numbers. The split finger is his dominant out pitch. He is very good. It'll be an interesting matchup because he's a very different style pitcher from Noah Cameron. So we'll see if Cameron can keep their lineup off balance and if by some miracle the Royals can hit Logan Gilbert. The last game of the series is Seth Lugo versus Brian Wu, another one of their – all of these guys are, 25, 26, or 27? They are all
Gilbert's
young.
28.
Gilbert's 28.
They're all young pitchers.
They're all good young pitchers. Must be nice to know. You don't really have to do anything. And then their other guy is the guy with the dreads.
Castillo?
Yeah.
Luis Castillo?
Yeah. What a great pitching staff. How do they not win more games? So Brian Wu will go against in the last game of the series, 25-year-old righty out of Cal Poly, 2.93 ERA and a .97 whip. He's got a four-seam fastball that's 95-96, a sinker, a slider, a changeup, and a sweeper. He is a strike thrower. He only walks 4.4% for his walk rate. He can give up some hard contact and some barrels, but another extremely talented young starter in a group of extremely talented young starters for the Mariners. So that's going to be a tough series.
Yeah, it is. It's tough to hit in Seattle. People sort of know that as a generality, and so hopefully that doesn't stop the Royals from scoring some runs. They'll need some runs to win the games. After that, they're going to head down to Arizona, get some of that Arizona heat, and hopefully that can spark some offense. It certainly has for the Diamondbacks this year. They have an amazing offense. They have 114 weighted runs created plus for them, which is good for fourth in Major League Baseball. Ketel Marte is putting up a great year so far with a 172 weighted runs created plus. Corbin Carroll has a 148 weighted runs created plus, and Eugenio Suarez, who hits every single year, has a 140 weighted runs created plus. They got some bashers. They got some guys who can really hit the baseball. Royals going to have to pitch well on that one. Much like the Dodgers, the pitching is a lot worse than the hitting for the Diamondbacks. And so as a team, they have a 4.77 ERA, which is 25th in Major League Baseball. And like the Dodgers, this pitching staff has been very injured. Merrill Kelly is leading the way with a 3.49 ERA in their rotation, but their other best starter, Corbin Burns, is on the 60-day IL now. He won't be back for this series. The rest of the rotation is struggling mightily, including guys who they counted on in the past, like Zach Gallen, having a terrible year. And so we'll see if the Royals can do something against a pitching staff that's not very good. Let's take advantage in a good hitting environment. We'll end this week's episode like we end every episode with the Just a Bit Outside segment, where we talk about something that's interesting to us outside the world of baseball. Mike, you seem to have a real sophisticated, intellectually idea to talk about here. Go for it.
No.
Okay, maybe I'm reading this wrong.
Yeah. I did dress it up. It sounds really good here in the outline. The outline says the value of artificial scarcity. But really what I'm saying here is, I think we all do this, but I just want to talk about it because it's happened to me very recently. So Saturday we have a party once a year, the last Saturday of June at my home, because there's a fireworks show that the town I live in puts on, and you can see it from my backyard. So we have a little cookout. People bring their kids over. Everybody plays. Mark came over. Mark's partner came over. Our mom came over. It was a good time. I grilled a lot of meats and made some other good foods and things like that. But what that really is for me that I don't really talk about, it's a time scarcity tactic that I use. So like, I hate the party, by the way. I don't like doing it. I don't like having people over to my home. If I'll have Mark over for fun, but I don't have to do anything for Mark to come over to my house. If my house is messy, if it's whatever, I don't care. It's Mark. Okay. But my wife invites a bunch of her friends over. Okay. And she doesn't want she wants our house to be cleaned and all these things. But what it does, it creates an opportunity for me to create some time scarcity. So I tell myself, hey, all of the stuff that I have to do to get my home nice and ready for this party also includes a lot of the maintenance that I just have to do for my home. And so I say it has to be done before this because we're going to have people over. And I just tell myself that, Mike, you've only got this much time to get all these things done. Okay. And that includes like a lot of yard work, a lot of trimming trees, a lot of small home repairs, and then cleaning the house and all that sort of stuff. And because I'm a teacher and I don't work during the summer, and my wife does work during the summer, a lot of that falls on me. But what it does is by creating that time scarcity, I then am able to get everything done, even though it's an artificial time scarcity, because we don't have to throw that party. A lot of these things don't even have to be done for the party, but that time scarcity, and it's artificial in nature, provides me as a procrastinator with something that I need. I need a deadline. Okay. But you can do the same thing with money. Okay. And so if some of you, I've talked about it on the podcast before, know that personal finance is kind of a hobby of mine, a passion of mine. And so that's another great way to save money, is to create a scarcity for yourself. Okay. Now, because it's artificial, it's somewhat safe, which is a good thing, kind of depending on where you put your money. But what we always say in the personal finance community is pay yourself first. And that means as soon as you get paid, save money as much as you possibly can safely. Now, if it's going to be a situation where you don't have any sort of emergency fund or anything like that, that might be something. Keep your money liquid if that's the case. But if not, go ahead and save your money in investments or wherever you think is most important and it can grow, and create scarcity for yourself so that you're forced to eat at home, so that you're forced to tell your friends, hey, I can't afford to go to that concert, or I can't afford to go to that movie tonight or whatever, because I don't have the money. And you're not lying to your friends because you don't have the money. It's in investments, growing, making you more money. And so that's what I've been doing for years and years now, creating kind of artificial scarcity for myself, whether it's in time or with money. And it's paid huge dividends in my life. One, in the fact that I get things done, whether it's for my house or my career or my family or whatever, but also financially.
Yeah, it's great. And what's interesting is it also teaches you how to be comfortable with that scarcity and all the things you can get with it. Like, so you may have a scarcity of money, but like you'll find that your happiness doesn't actually go down in any measurable way, even if you're
No.
not out spending the money and doing this. So it's great.
And even
That
though
scarcity doesn't
I hate
actually-
having the party yesterday, I had a great time. Like I don't
Yeah, yeah.
necessarily love people coming to my house, but it was fun to catch up with people and do all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I agree. It doesn't take anything from you as far as happiness goes or anything.
Yeah, it's great. I'm talking about a TV recommendation. I haven't made a TV or a book or anything recommendation in a long time. So I'm going to make a TV recommendation, which is a show I'm sure many, if not all of you,
You're recommending this real obscure one. Way to go with a deep cut.
Have heard about this show, but I got to tell you about it because I started watching it this last week. And that is the show Severance. If you haven't watched it, it's on Apple TV Plus. If you're into like sort of cerebral, mind-bendy shows, this is the show for you because it also has plenty of comedy, but also amazing acting. If you've never seen Severance, it's amazing because they've gotten such a great cast into it. The show was kind of created and directed by Ben Stiller, but it stars Adam Scott, who's great in it.
You might know him as Ben Wyatt from
Parks and Rec. It's also got Christopher Walken in it.
Oh,
it's also
Christopher
got
Walken.
John Turturro in it.
Oh, I love Turturro.
It's also got Patricia Arquette in it, who is also amazing in the show. And the cast is just kind of unbelievably good. They surround Adam Scott with actors you may not recognize or know very well, except for Turturro. He's in there, but like there are some actors who just aren't household names, but are just great. They're just doing great jobs and they're great in it. It is a very well written, very well acted show that is kind of mind bendy and very, very wild. I highly, highly recommend it.
Adam Scott's a better actor than people think. He's not. I've never seen the show, but he's mostly known as a comedy guy.
But he's not. He wasn't
Party
trained
Down, and then
and Step Brothers and Parks and Rec. But that's not what he was trained to do. He's like a trained actor. He went to theater school and all that sort of stuff. And so, highly recommend. He does an amazing job in it as a man who has gone through some difficult things and as a result made a pretty drastic decision. And so, give it a shot. It's really, really good. Hopefully you'll watch it by next week when we come out with another episode because we'll be back again next week to talk about the Royals again. No matter how well or poorly they do, we will be here talking about them. And to make sure you're subscribing to the Royals Weekly Substack, royalsweekly.substack.com. Make sure you're rating and reviewing everywhere. We'll see you again next week. Until then, be good to each other.
And go Royals.